Welcome back to the channel. We're in the shop today, and behind me, in case you missed the big announcement last week, this is our new 2023 Ford Transit Trail Edition. This is going to be our new camper van. The truck and the camper are currently up for sale. This is going to be the replacement for both of them. You haven't seen a whole lot of the trailer itself. Typically, we'd take that out when we're going on a 2 or 3 day trip, just staying at a state park or basically base camping. The truck has, for the last couple years, it's pretty much been a solo rig for me. Sue hasn't come out, honestly, since we did the Trans-America Trail sections back in 2022. So we decided with the big trip coming up and later in the spring that living in the truck for 2 weeks or so together isn't going to be such a great thing. We've been talking about getting a van for a long time, and finally timing just worked out. This was seemed like the thing to do. So the inside of the van is completely empty. I'm going to try to get, I've got about 2 months before we go on a trip, so I'm going to try to get as much done inside as I can, but it's probably going to be a kind of a minimalist build until we can get back from the trip. And honestly, that'll give us a couple weeks to learn what we actually want in the van, what we don't want in the van. So for now, first things first, of course, I bought it last Monday, and Tuesday I was ordering parts. So first thing to come in is roof rack. We got a low profile roof rack from Flatline Van Co, and it just came in today. So we're gonna get that on. Let's get started. All right, first thing I wanna do is just get everything out of the boxes, make sure we have all the pieces and parts that we're supposed to have before we get too far into this. Looks like everything's here. I don't know. The factory roof rack mounting holes are under these little stickers from the factory, so I need to peel these up. Unfortunately, some of the sheet metal on the outside was actually covering the hole itself, so I needed to use this die grinder to clearance the hole so I could get the bolts in. Luckily, it was only on the front two, and the other 6 holes actually lined up. All right, so luckily there was only the two front holes needed reamed out. The sheet metal on top just was covering up half the hole, so there was no way to get a bolt in it. So I got those cleaned up, deburred, and put a little paint on them. Now onto their mounting brackets. These actually have, I don't know if you can see it, they've got nice rubber pads on the bottom, and then their washers are actually these little cone-shaped rubber sealing washers for the bolts. So that should actually work without any sealant. So I'm going to go up and make sure everything's covered. I might just put a little dab of sealant around that to start with. I just don't trust it. So I'm gonna put a little sealant on there, and we'll put those on. All right, so that's it for the mounting brackets. Rubber on the bottom was nice, but I went back and put some RTV around the bottom of every hole, and probably go back after the whole thing's done, and I might even cover the whole top of the bolt head and washer with some more sealant just to be sure. It's the old roofer in me. I know water will find a way, so a little extra insurance never hurts. From there, I moved on to installing the side rails, and these little carriage bolts come up through the bottom of the bracket were really fighting with me until I finally figured out what the trick was to installing them. So one thing I noticed on the other side, I looked at these brackets, because I could see these little slots right here. And I thought, wow, somebody actually tried to make that easy to install. And then I put all the carriage bolts in and tried to put it in there, and it wouldn't work. What I figured out on the second one, it does work, but I had the nuts on the carriage bolts too far. So I'm gonna try this one, just start the nuts a couple threads on, and then see if that makes it a little bit easier on. Because otherwise, it's a pain in the ass. Separate. Boom. Nice. Next up are the crossbars that simply just bolt into place with 2 bolts through each end. And the final crossbar goes on the front with the air dam pre-installed on the table. With that installed, I could go back and tighten all the crossbar brackets before realigning everything to the roof and tightening up the mounting brackets. All right, we got the rack installed, everything's tightened down. I'm gonna go back and put some more sealant on those bolts that mount it to the roof, and our awning will be in this afternoon, so we'll get that bolted on here in a little bit and show you the finished product. Apparently at this point, my camera's decided to take a break, and all of the awning install was lost. So it was pretty simple. The awning bolted to the rack in 3 places, and after the install here, you can see it's a simple crank out design. So we just crank it out a little bit, drop the legs down, get everything supported, crank it out the rest of the way, and then stake everything to the ground. All right, well, that's going to do it for this install. We've got the awning and the rack completely done. I think it's going to take a little while to get used to this awning. I'm really going to miss my 270s, but being 9 feet off the ground, it's a little bit tough to open that. So, all right, we've got a lot more parts coming, and obviously this build's going to take a while. So we'll get her done. See you in the next one.